To assist you in looking at some of your CDT data, I've created a little video that will kind of take you through the steps of analyzing some of the data using two reports, just in case you need a little bit of a refresher. First thing, once you get to the pa.drcedirect.com website, you'll want to go ahead and click log on, in which case you'll put in your information and sign in. Okay, once logged in, down here in test setup, of course, is where you would go to edit your student groups and things like that I had you do earlier in the year. Your reporting would all be under reporting tools. So if you click on that, and where you typically would want to go is to the interactive reports. So click on interactive reports. Through interactive reports, as you go into most of these areas, you have to select a filter or filter down to the information that you want to get to. So I'm going to click on 12-13 Classroom Diagnostic Tools, which will automatically bring up Antietam School District. I'm going to go ahead and click on Antietam Senior Middle High School or Middle Senior High School. At which point you can use some of these filters to get to your exact information. I'm just going to use Ginger's science information as an example. Okay, so as I click on her name and I go in here, I could actually pick one of her individual classes if I'd like to see something a little bit more specific. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and just choose the whole 8th grade because I want to get an overall kind of idea of what pieces might be strengths or weaknesses for the entire grade at this point. So I'm going to click 8th grade science for 2013. I'm going to hit continue. Once you hit continue, that brings up the actual mapping piece. Okay, and as you come down through here, you'll notice some options: group map, individual map, group learning progression map. The two that I'm going to go through today is the basic group map and then also the group learning progression map. The dates should be fine because it's basically the whole school year. You'll want to click on your map configuration. For this case, I would look at Science 8 because I want it to be mapped to the Science 8 standards because we're looking for the PSSA in Science 8 or Science Grade 8. Okay, at which point then some information would come up that would look like this. Okay, this being the overall category, these being the individual categories: nature of science, biological sciences, physical sciences, earth and space sciences. Okay, as you go through this, of course you could go ahead and hover over one of the names, but since I'm creating a video for this, I'm going to try and leave the student names out of this the best I can. If you wanted to, you could actually come in here and let's say I wanted to know what information I could use or get to help this group get a little bit better. So I could actually highlight that and I could show eligible data. Okay, in which case over here would come up some list of standards or anchors that I could do to kind of strengthen that area for those classes or for that entire grade. Okay, so this is the general map. As you'll see, it gives you kind of a general overview. Green being indicator that they'd probably be proficient using these standards. Red indicating some areas where they needed some assistance and so forth. And blue, of course, being above grade level standards. Okay, if you wanted to go back in here to get rid of those highlighted ones, I think it is just clear maps. So let's go ahead and try that. And it does, it just brings it back without the highlighted sections. Okay, the next map that I'd like to show you would be the group learning progression map. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this. Now I'm not really concerned about the names, so I'm going to go ahead and bring this the whole way up through here. What you have in these three columns here would be a summary of the responses, counts of green and counts of red. Green being that they got questions right, red being that they got questions wrong. Okay, if I look back up at this quick, okay, green is first and red is second. Okay, you'll notice that I have no data here, so the names up here, it shouldn't affect having that information shown. But as I do come down through here, you will notice that I will start to see some checks and so forth. Okay, this being 7th grade standards, S7, S8. Okay, as you come down through, of course, there are 11th grade standards as well, even though we do not no longer have the PSSAs in 11th grade. What I would focus on, depending on what area you're looking in, is what area is grayed out, because that's based on the map configuration that you chose. So looking at that, okay, these are the 8th grade standards. So I would look at these. You'll see some green and red checks. Some of this green and red, those of you who have seen this before, may or may not indicate good information, so to speak, or what that green and red means. Because if you look up here, this tells you the number green, this tells you the number red. Okay, so in this case, it was 14 green and 6 red, even though it was still an indicator of red students. Okay, so it's based on 20 students and 22 items. Alright, if I was to look at that information, 14 to 6, 14 being green, I don't think that I would see that as an area of major concern. As you come down through, 8 and 9, it's about half and half. You know, it starts to become a little bit more of an indicator that it might be an area that you want to look at. 9 and 2, definitely probably not an area that you want to look at, and it is indicated as green here. 3 to 8, okay, that one might be an area. Out of 11 students, I only got 3 students that got it right. But down here, 13 and 2, that of course would be an area that I would not see a need for. So once you find some areas that you think you can pinpoint that might need some need, what I would suggest doing is, one, coming over here and looking at, as you hover over top of that, you can look at the actual anchor that's in place there. So this one is use ratio describe change. So an example, percents, parts per million, grams per cubic centimeter, and things like that. Mechanical advantage. Okay. You can get to some materials and resources here. Another item thing that you can, or another piece of information, is you could actually see a sample item. It's not an actual question that they got, but it would be a sample item of what questions in this area might look like. So if I click on that, what comes up is an actual sample problem. So maybe you'd, if you saw that a lot of people had, you know, issues with this particular type of problem, this might be a sample question that you would want to bring out in class in part of your review sessions. Okay. So as I close that and go back in here, you know, again, you will scan down through. Okay. Again, I would focus on the areas in gray, because otherwise there's just going to be too many things for you to look at. So just keep coming down till you get the areas of gray. Okay. Again, you see things like 13 and the 3, 13 green, 3 red. Clearly that's an area of strength. Okay. Whereas if you look up through here, you know, 1 to 5, 4 to 9, you know, so out of 13 people, only 14 or only 4 people got it right. So I might want to hover over that, kind of look at what it is. Okay, and then again, you can see what the anchor is, pull a sample item if you'd like, to kind of get an idea of what kind of question they might get there. Okay, so that gives you some ideas of looking at that and seeing what the data would suggest in terms of you know, looking at strengths and weaknesses based on an entire group. Okay, those are the 2 reports that I wanted to go through. So as you look at these, let me kind of go the whole way back up to the top. Okay, and that way there's no data to be displayed. Okay, you can come back in here, go back to the group map if you'd like. You could come here and select an actual individual group. So if I wanted to go to, for example, the I don't know, the section 4, okay, you could do that. And in looking at section 4, you could actually go ahead and just look at this, and again, go ahead and continue the whole section again. By looking at that, just continue. It will take you back into the report section, where again you would go ahead and select the map configuration and or one of the individual maps or group maps that you would want to look at. And if you have any questions, please let me know, as you need further instruction on this.